professionals, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, all united by our shared Marathi heritage and a passion for excellence. Today's event is about reflection, connection, and growth in terms of our professional lives. So just so that we can warm up a little bit, raise your hand if you've already set professional goals for 2025. That's great! You guys are all on top of it. And how many of you are here to find new goals today? Fantastic. Whether you've already made some goals or you're here to find new ones, you all are in just the right place. I love this quote by Helen Keller. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And that's exactly what we're here for today. To harness our collective wisdom and step boldly into the future together. Before we dive into today's event, let's take a moment to appreciate the remarkable journey of Garje Marathi Global. Over the last 8 years, GMG has become a powerhouse of connection and collaboration, creating opportunities for Marathi professionals around the globe to learn, grow, and thrive. Whether it's mentoring startups, empowering young talent, or celebrating the achievements of our community, GMG continues to embody the spirit of collective progress. Today's event, Horizon 2025, is about unlocking new opportunities, embracing innovation, and fostering meaningful connections. It's a day to look back at what we have achieved, learn from our past, and then look forward to the immense possibilities that the future holds. Today, we will look at some updates from GMG's key initiatives, learn from inspiring leaders, and indulge in an expert panel discussion with plenty of time left over to network, share ideas, and build meaningful connections. And of course, a delicious lunch. So without further ado, let's begin. My name is Shalaka Doras, and it is my honor to introduce myself as your MC for today. I will be your guide as we embark on this exhilarating journey together. Let's make GMG Horizon 2025 truly unforgettable. So, are you ready?
Yes!
All right then. So to start off, we're diving into some exciting updates from the heart of Garje Marathi Global. Over the past year, GMG has been driving some incredible initiatives. And today, we'll get a sneak peek into their plans for 2025. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Mr. Naresh Apte, to talk about venture catalysts. Let's give him a round of
And welcome everybody. This started as a small idea that, hey, this is end of the year, so let's think about what we want to do next year for Venture Catalyst program. And look at us, we have about 125 people who will be here today. This has now become a GMG-wide effort, and if everybody finds value in this going forward, we would like to do this every year. This is kind of a exercise for all of us to start thinking about the next year. So welcome everybody. Just to give you a quick idea about what Venture Catalyst is, this started with a conversation that I had with Sonali last year about this time. So this is a pretty right moment to talk about that, right? And it started with mainly 4 things in mind that any venture needs. And those are access to capital, access to customers, access to talent, especially C-level talent, and access to insights from those who have already walked this path before you. So Venture Catalyst as a program started with those 4 goals, and I'm happy to let you guys know that we had about 5 or 6 demo days and other events in between. People have raised money on this platform already. So if you have an idea that is going to be earth-shattering, world-changing, we would like to invite you all to come to Venture Catalyst program and pitch your idea. And who knows, maybe it would be us chasing you after your Series A, Series B, or whatnot. You're going to hear from a lot of people over here who know a lot about all of that. So without much further ado, let me invite Rupali to talk about the next GMG initiative. Thank you.
कारण खूप रेअर असतं ना अशा ठिकाणी मराठीमध्ये बोलता प्रोफेशनल प्लॅटफॉर्म. पाली देशपांडे, लॉंग आय थिंक I've been with Garje Marathi since early 2020 आणि आम्ही एक इनिशिएटिव्ह चालू केला होता ह्या वर्षी and that is campus to corporate. So we conducted a boot camp for students. Everybody is like students are like, oh, the next thing is to find job. But it's आजच्या जगामध्ये एवढं सोपं नाही राहिलेलं. When we graduated it was different. Resume बनवला, टाकला. But आता networking करायला लागतं. There are so many options, so many courses available. How do you navigate through this? So we have put together like a boot camp. आणि आम्ही एक पायलट रन केलं होतं ह्या वर्षी फेब्रुवारीमध्ये. We had 13 students. It was a paid initiative. म्हणजे $25 nominal fee घेतली होती आम्ही. आणि we took them through a 4-week boot camp where we just mentored them that how do you choose your career? How do you align your skills with the career options? How do you do networking? How do you find projects? आणि ह्या सगळ्या it's not just about resume. आणि मग ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी तुम्ही resume मध्ये कशा उतरवा? So I think it was a really good response. Couple of people also got interview opportunities. They found jobs as well. That's the feedback that we got. So we really want to scale this program. So in 2025, that is one thing I'm looking for. If any one of you are interested to join in, more than happy. If Vishal is here, Vishal was also one of the all of them were part of the initiative. So the पुढच्या वर्षी I think we are planning to do this in person. Maybe 8 दिवसाचा instead of making it 4 weeks. Maybe we can do like 9 to 3 and just get them in person so they get opportunity to network, etc. Any other ideas you have around it? More than welcome to discuss and we can talk about it. So thank you so much.
Bhandari to talk about startups mentoring.
Thank you, Shalaka. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanjay Bhandari. I spent 25 years in startups here. And with Garje Marathi, we started this initiative of startup cohorts. And how many of you were involved in many of these efforts, startup-related efforts? Yeah, probably at least 10-20% of people here. So what it is there are lots of successful professionals all over the world who are Marathi professionals. And they have learned hard way, just like me, hard way about startups, running companies and so on. So we decided to do something for Marathi professionals, young Marathi entrepreneurs, young by heart, not by age, that wanted to start companies and didn't know how to start, what to do, if you have an idea, where do you go from there and so on. So we started this initiative about 4 years ago, and in each of the cohort, we call it cohort, we take about 20-25, sometimes we have taken up to 75 companies in one cohort. And to these companies, we provide 16 weeks of very disciplined training. 16 weeks, every week there is an event, every weekend, Saturday for California time, and Sunday for India time. And the mentors that we have on this platform are very experienced professionals all over the world. And I'm really proud of all that team. That's the reason I asked to raise hand, because many of these people here were part of that initiative in the startup beginning. And through these programs, we have mentored 130 companies. So I'm really proud of that. That would not have been possible without the mentorship effort from all over the world, from people who are very experienced. This is business mentorship. When I started, I thought it's going to be about something in my field and so on. It's all over there are companies coming in so many different areas. We get to learn something as mentors when we start mentoring these companies. And these companies eventually have raised about $6 to $8 million US. We have combined now this effort. There is this cohort effort where people have ideas, they start this cohort, they go through this program, then we have venture capitalists, which Naresh talked about, so that we have this continuous pipeline, and now somebody will talk about my program and so on, which is sort of a beginning where we want to sort of encourage people, students who are just starting, who have new ideas into specific areas, so that we have end-to-end system that we can take people from just having ideas all the way to having a successful company. And many of the companies that we have mentored have reached to higher levels now. Not just that they have got funding, but they have been recognized in India. One of them was actually mentioned by Prime Minister Modi ji in his Man Ki Baat. This company called Nadi Tarangini, which was also a core company. So when these companies reach to this level, we feel really proud about this effort. And those of you who are interested in this entrepreneurship event, please talk to me later on about it. We have at least 2 events, sometimes more, one cohort, and then there is a pitch usually with the conference. So we'll talk more about that in the later part of this day. Thank you.
Us about these amazing initiatives. Now, we have the great privilege of hearing from 2 distinguished speakers who will share their perspectives on leadership, innovation, and the future. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker and one of the most distinguished minds in the field of aviation and airspace innovation, Dr. Parimal Kopardekar. Dr. Kopardekar isn't just shaping the future of air travel. He's transforming the way we live and move. Picture this: drones delivering your packages safely right to your doorstep, faster wildfire responses saving hundreds of lives, and advanced air mobility finally cutting through the Bay Area traffic. As the director of NASA's Aeronautics Research Institute, Dr. Kopardekar is turning these possibilities into realities. Recognized as one of the top 25 most influential people in the drone industry, Dr. Kopardekar has earned several accolades, including the NASA Invention of the Year, the NASA Exceptional Technology Achievement Medal, and many more. Get ready to learn from NASA pioneer, changemaker, and someone whose work will carry on a legacy for years to come, Dr. Parimal Kopardekar.
I wish I would take you everywhere to introduce me. You are such a great. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about aeronautics in space, what we do, and a couple of public service announcements. Maybe I'll start with the public service announcements first. So we have a great internship program, intern.nasa.gov. So if anybody who is interested in internships, we take from high school onwards, so 16-year-old and up. Intern.nasa.gov, the applications are started for summer. That's number one. Number two, for those who are in small businesses, we have another great program, Small Business Innovative Research, SBIR, and you can find lots of opportunities there. I think their applications are due twice a year, and there are a number of phases. So that's another great way to get involved. You get basically government grant. Essentially, you don't have to dilute your equity. And third is for those who are interested in jobs at NASA, usajobs.com or usajobs.gov. Either one of the site will take you to the same place. So lots of good jobs. Actually, the USA jobs, it's all jobs at NASA. So feel free to look it up and share the information to your friends and family. We would love to have you. Let me talk a little bit about aeronautics and the type of research we do at NASA Ames here, which is very close from here, a few miles away. So primarily we are focused on 4 things in aeronautics. One is trying to get as fast as possible. So who doesn't want to go to India in 2 hours, right? So we are working on supersonic and hypersonic type of aircraft. We have the largest wind tunnel here. That is amazing if you get an opportunity to see. So we want to get faster. That's one thing. Second thing we are working on, enabling future, as she pointed out, we are looking at drones and advanced air mobility electric aircraft, smaller electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that will actually get to you faster to different places across the bay and many other locations so that you don't have to sit in traffic forever. So that's number 2. Number 3, we are working on improving the safety of entire operations. How do we make sure that there are no accidents, no fatalities in the aviation ecosystem at large? And number 4, we are looking at improving the airspace capacity, efficiency of the total air traffic management system. So if you look at what happens today, there are 50,000 operations. One operation is sort of one takeoff or one landing, and at the time there are 7,000 aircraft. If you postulate future 50 years from now or even 25 years from now, you're going to have a lot more commercial space launches, a lot more drones, a lot more electric aircraft. So how do you enable that future without basically getting impacted by delays and sustainability considerations? So those are the types of things we do in aeronautics. Really fascinating field. For those who are interested in that, please consider job opportunities and any other opportunities, even the research together. We also work with our academia, those who are in academics. And then second is the space. Of course, it's unlimited space. I kind of jokingly say we'll give you space to grow at NASA. There are lots of opportunities, from science. So James Webb Telescope, if you're fascinated by planets and galaxies and universe, that's a really good place to check out everything that's happening. We also work on basically missions that are going to go to Moon and Mars. So those are another fascinating places to work on. And then third piece, as like I was pointing out, like we bring all those things together to help the humanity on Earth. So example is the wildfire. So California has a huge wildfire problem as related to other states as well, and different countries. How do we fix that problem? So current challenges are, if you look at what happens is the detection of fires is a problem, then tracking those fires is a problem. The fire that creates its own weather, figuring that out what will happen, where the fire will go is another problem, and then suppressing fire is a problem. So if you bring all the things together, aeronautics and space, you can basically have better sensors, and use remote sensing from the satellites. Current sensors are kind of weak. They don't get through the clouds very easily. So you have an opportunity to improve the sensing systems and hardware and software related to those from the space. So detecting the fire, tracking them, then you also, and that may still not be adequate. You may need the drones to basically have outfitted with hyperspectral sensors and others so that they can continue to track where the fire is going. Third is suppressing fire by aerial means. Currently what happens is there's an air boss that's sitting in the aircraft watching where the fire is going and also managing the traffic of the aircraft that are dispatching water and retardant. So that's completely high-water traffic management, and we are trying to digitize all that and making sure that there are better tools for that person, or air boss, to manage the traffic. And changing that to using drones. So the air boss, when it sits in the aircraft watching traffic, as soon as the smokestack shows up or weather goes bad or visibility goes down, they stop the operation. As a result, they are only fighting fires 6 to 8 hours a day through aerial means, and we want to expand that to 24 hours a day. If you look at the top 5 fires that happened in 2021, 3 fires lasted for more than 3 months, and the 2 fires lasted for more than 2 months, costing $1.8 billion. So I think this is where we can bring space and aeronautics and all the hardware and software systems to change the paradigm to get to 24-hour detection, tracking, and suppression. So these are the kinds of things we do. I'll be happy to talk to you more about this. Feel free to connect me on LinkedIn, send me email and all of that. But pleasure meeting with you all, and glad to be here and looking forward to participating in future events. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honor to introduce our next speaker, a true innovator and visionary, a serial entrepreneur, and a pioneer in healthcare informatics and biotechnology, Mr. Mohan Uttarwar. Mr. Uttarwar is the co-founder and CEO of OneCell Diagnostics, a company striving to transform lives by finding a cure for cancer using AI and ML. With over 30 years of entrepreneurial success, Mr. Uttarwar has co-founded 5 companies. He has raised over $50 million in funding and created over $500 million in shareholder value. Mr. Uttarwar is driven by a passion for reaching new heights, whether it's achieving milestones in business or scaling the peaks of great mountains like Mount Kailash and Mount Kilimanjaro. Please join me in welcoming to the stage an inspiring leader, innovator, and adventurer, Mr. Mohan Uttarwar.
You know, such a wonderful energy that you bring, that's the advantage. You know, you get senior folks who can give you advice, but coming here gets energized like that. And the way she described, I felt Tomi Navets. So, I think thanks Naresh for inviting me. And thank you Garje Marathi, what a platform you built, it's really inspiring. 10 minutes to share. Do you have some slides? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Yeah. So I think the topic was fundraising and the future, 2025 and beyond. I'll take a few minutes. I will, thank you. Share you some of the learnings. I mean, this platform, obviously, what can I do to share what we have gone through? And hopefully give you a few insights as to what does it take to do the fundraising. What's my experience? I'm very fortunate. Just earlier last month, we closed a round of funding. And that fresh experience I'll share with you, hopefully you can learn. With one disclaimer, come to me, I can only give you advice. If you need money, you have people like Shirish Sathaye. At this age and stage in my life, you always ask this question, why am I doing what I'm doing? And it really boils down to having some purpose. There's a beautiful book I had read. It says, post 60, you have to find a new purpose. Because 60s is the new 40s these days, right? So you do have another 15, 20 years of active life. And fortunately, or unfortunately, we have picked up an extremely complicated but extremely impactful topic, which is how do I help cancer patients across the country, around the world. And OneCell is really about, So the mission, as I see it, is impacting 1 billion cancer patients' life across the country and around the world. And doing it by innovation at the intersection of science, incredibly beautiful science, and incredibly good technology, which is the data science, where AI plays an important role in transforming this field from reacting to the past. Often we hear stage 4 cancer detected coming out of nowhere from the left field. It's not an accident. The things happen behind. We just don't have the technology and the science to predict. So often you see diagnose, treat, and hope for the cure. We want to change that from don't wait for the bad things to happen to you. You screen, you predict, and you prevent. That predict part is the key to prevent. And that's where AI comes in very handy. Not in a buzzwordy fashion, but that's what it is. Okay? So I think she's already described, but important to tell you my roots. Okay, I call it my B2B journey from a village called Bham, which is about 500 people. We grew up in what is less than $1 a day, where we had no electricity, no water, no nothing, no television. And our kids said we couldn't live with all of it, but we couldn't live without internet. So guess what? So from there to Bay Area, it's been exactly 4 decades. And I'm really privileged and very blessed to be able to transcend those borders. And hopefully, through Garje Marathi, we'll go back to my Jilla and we'll do something about my village, which I have already done a little bit. So, a lot of people say, oh, I tried, and the VCs got rejected. Shirish will tell you he gets on an average 1,000 deals, and he will probably fund 5 or 10 at most. It's actually the percentage is less than getting admission in an IIT. So how do you change the odds, right? So not every company is a venture funded possible company. You have to understand that. You have to understand what they're looking for. So try to look from their eyes as to what they look. Okay? And then you will realize yourself, okay, what you need to do to make you look good so that you beat the odds of that, whatever less than 1%. We found the problem. 50 million cancer survivors, 1.8 new cancer patients. The death rate is going to the roof. The prevalence is going like crazy. Okay, you can look the other way and say, I have had my good life, let me retire. What gets me excited is something can be done about it. And it's not just the science part, but when you integrate science with AI, you have a true opportunity to make an impact. And that's what it's all about when I say repurposing. Next slide. Yeah. So, and again, this is a lot of buzzwords, but fundamentally what happens is the following. 90% of the cancer deaths happens because of reoccurrence. The root cause of that is a process called metastasis. Okay? You diagnose cancer, you do the treatment, 90%, 95%, it works very well. That little 5% that is lingering, it's called minimal residual disease. Cancer cells are very smart. They figure out how to, sort of bypass. And they settle somewhere else. Okay? It's called circulating tumor cells. Okay? That little MRD circulating tumor cell is the root cause. They settle somewhere. It might be a breast cancer patient, but that cell would have escaped and gone into the brain, called brain mets, right? It's very difficult to find out. And current systems, okay, which are post-therapeutic intervention follow through, they are not sensitive enough to detect because you need minimum secondary tumor growth to be 9 to 10 millimeter to PET, CT, MRI. Okay, and that's why it's often too little, too late. So finding that culprit, the fugitive on the run, the circulating tumor cell, that's done through innovative science. Okay, and to make sense out of the incredible information that is loaded in that circulating tumor cell through next generation sequencing, DNA, RNA, transcriptomics, metabolomics, proteomics. These names may not mean much to you, but each of them is a deep science. And what we do, because cancer is like an elephant and 6 blind men, each of these areas tell you, it looks like a tail, it looks like a pole. But nobody has figured out how to integrate all this information and make sense out of it in a predictive way to say, aha, this is going to reoccur, do something about it well ahead of time. Anyway, so the next slide, right? So again, just say that as a background. Big opportunity, big problem, very complicated, but if you crack it, okay, that's an opportunity. That's why people like Shirish are always looking for, okay, that the money they will deploy is going to exponentially grow the company. And keep that in mind as an entrepreneur. Incremental growth problems are not for VCs. There are other mechanisms to fund those ideas, okay? But I think this is very, very critical. So I'll just go through, some of it, and I will give you, that stuff. 3 things you look for after we know that it's a big idea, okay? And that's a takeaway, I would say. 3 T's: a team, technology, and traction with key opinion leaders, the early proof points, right? So, this is my, sort of formula. We'll go through this, we identify big opportunity, have an absolutely fantastic, team. Yeah, go ahead, next slide, And, basically traction with key opinion leaders early on. So that's absolutely wonderful. So build a strong foundation. Try to look it from the eyes of the investors And then you yourself will realize what you need to do in order to be able to do that. The other thing is very important. Most of the entrepreneurs, they know how to identify the problem. They know how to solve that problem through innovation. But it's a different market. Investment is a different market segment. There are different customers. They do care about the science and technology, but they care more about if I invest $1, how do I get $10 back? So that recognition has to be there right up front because you are catering to a different, audiences. So I think many people make that difference. So we should change that. So next one, I have 2 minutes left, so let me run through. Okay. And so the other thing is the odds are against you. Okay. So we recognize that. They get bombarded by so many things. So the key would be to tap your network, okay, and reach out to them. An advisor giving a recommendation to take a look at has 10 times more probability that you will get a meeting. Okay, so another key factor. Not all investors are the same. Okay, it's not the money. It's also who do you get from and what support do you get. It's a value-added investor that are very important. A lot of people worry about the control. The moment you take a single penny, you lost the control. Keep that in mind. And if you want the control, investors would like 10 times more control. Okay, so if control is what you want, don't go the VC route. If building an incredible company and being a small part of a big pie, then I think this is the right approach. The other thing people think about is getting the VC money is the starting point. Okay, it's not an aim. It's really what do you do? How do you deploy? How do you grow? Right? And so people have this, unfortunately, wrong ideas, right? That it's an entry, not an exit. Yeah? So you should keep that in mind. Okay. And, so anyway, last few minutes, 2020, this is an exciting time. Healthcare, medical technology is probably the last big industry hasn't used the technology. And there are a number of areas, okay, but I would say it's probably the most exciting area which will grow in the next, 5 to 10 years. Lots of problems, lots of challenges, and I think it's the time to figure out an innovation at the intersection of science and technology. And I think there's an incredible opportunity. And my time is up. So.
Thank you so much, Mr. Uttarwar, for your incredible perspectives and insights on the future of healthcare, as well as strategies for fundraising. I would like to invite him back up to the stage, as well as GMG board.
Let me just take a quick minute here. For those of you who don't know me, Lalit Sanjay, I'm from Boston area actually. But I've been associated with Garje Marathi since probably 2017, 2018. I don't know exact time frame. I've seen Garje Marathi grow from just the idea to so many initiatives, and this is the fruits of that all. आणि इथल्या सगळ्या जे मेंबर्स हे काम करत आहेत, ही जी बे एरियाची सेंटर ऑफ एक्सलन्स टीम जी काम करते हे सगळं पूर्णपणे व्हॉलंटरी आहे. It is all based, there is no payment made to anybody in this particular organization. पण ऑर्गनायझेशन जेव्हा असा मोठा प्रोग्राम करते आणि आपले 2 समिट झालेले आहेत आतापर्यंत, न्यू जर्सी समिट जे झालं ईस्ट कोस्टला यावर्षी, त्याचा मी कन्व्हेनर होतो, को कन्व्हेनर होतो, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जो काही आपण रिस्पॉन्स आणि हे मिळतोय तो फार चांगला आहे. मराठी माणसांसाठी केलेली फार चांगली चळवळ आहे ही, आणि ती जर चालू राहायला पाहिजे तर आपल्याला प्रत्येक गोष्टीला थोडीफार मदत लागते, आणि ती मदत ही आपल्यासारख्या सगळ्या देणगीकरांनी दिलेली आहे कंटिन्युअसली. आणि त्यासाठी प्रत्येकाच्या टेबलवरती एक QR कोड आहे. तुम्हाला जे काय वाटेल, तुम्हाला प्रोग्राम आवडला आणि तुम्हाला जे काय आवडेल, जे काय देता येईल ते डेफिनेटली द्या. दॅट इज द ओनली रिक्वेस्ट आय हॅव. Otherwise, please give a big round of applause to the entire Center of Excellence Committee that has put up this program Thank you so much, guys.
As the African proverb, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. GMG embodies this spirit by hosting initiatives to help our entire community thrive. Let's explore some more of these impactful efforts. I would like to invite Mr. Jay Kulkarni to talk about the Business Accelerator.
How are you doing? Good. So I thought I am not in the list, so so this is we did a survey from the GMG members, and we asked the professional to tell what is really important to them. So we asked like upskilling, professional growth, and we also asked like whether you want to start a new business. And surprisingly, the highest score was for professionals wants to start a new business. So it was a good insight. So for that, GMG has a initiative, Business Catalyst, where we help the entrepreneurs as well as startup companies to start their business. Where currently we have 100+ members who are registered for this one. We do monthly meetings, we do some cross-sell, upsell. We help each other and discuss some of the challenges, what is happening and all that stuff. So there are almost 14 verticals, businesses are part of that. Not only IT, but there are some from cybersecurity insurance, some are from restaurants and all that stuff. So anyone who are interested, please join that group and we can help each other and grow those businesses, small businesses. So thank you.
Joshi to explain about the Maharashtra Accelerator for AI, otherwise known as MAI.
Namaskar. माझं नाव आनंद जोशी आणि along with my core team members here, we all run an initiative called as MAI. MAI stands for Maharashtra Accelerator for AI. And we are all AI professionals. Akash and Atul and Neeraj is not yet, but basically we've been meeting for the last year and a half on a weekly basis, trying to figure out how to take AI to the grassroots level in Maharashtra, or worldwide for that matter. Our goal is to empower students to think different. We want them to think AI as a solution to world's problems, if you will. And when you start thinking in that direction, it's a different way of thinking. Entrepreneurship is not about just reading a textbook and creating answers. You have to be very open-minded, focused, and informative, if you will. How do I apply this problem? So we have 3 pillars: education, engineering, and entrepreneurship. We are starting by training students about AI. So thankfully we have some very smart people in AI who can teach them. Towards that end, we conducted a boot camp this year which talked about RAG, which is a very popular method that's being used by many startups, and that was attended by 100 people. So next year, we're going to take that to all over Maharashtra, and we are going to train students in the latest and greatest techniques that are being used by startups here in building companies. So that's education, which leads us to engineering, in which we want them to start thinking, how do I take this knowledge and build a solution, which eventually will lead them towards the entrepreneurship. And so this is a very grassroots level activity, in which case we are targeting students. We're going to teach them about AI, we're going to teach them how to apply that to engineering problems through hackathons, and then we're going to teach them how to actually build a proof of concept through a program, what we call as Summer of Code. And we are happy to report that this last year, without any marketing, we had 100 people who went through the process of education, of which 50 went on and participated in the hackathon, of which 25 participated in Summer of Code. 2 interns got hired, and 1 group is actually applying for Y Combinator for funding. So, next year we want to replicate all of this in Maharashtra. Our goal is to increase all these numbers by 10x. We have a partnership with Pimpri-Chinchwad University, which is autonomous university. So hopefully we can do some coursework with them, and And we need your help. This is not something that can be done. It's a multi-year program. And we need help from you in terms of identifying real-life problems, mentoring all the students, helping us, taking them or giving them your knowledge in terms of how do we take this engineering solution and apply it to everyday basis. And in that sense, I would really like to thank Garje Marathi movement started by Ganu Kaka and all the work that goes into creating events like this. We've been very thankful to this community, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future and keeping that in touch. Thank you.
And succeed. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you all for the energy and the engagement so far. It's now time for us to dive into the panel discussion. Today, we'll explore navigating the future, reflections on 2024, and strategies for mapping out 2025. Our esteemed panelists bring a wealth of experience, insights, and diverse perspectives from across various fields. This is a golden opportunity to hear their thoughts on the pivotal moments of 2024, the trends shaping 2025, and the strategies to embrace opportunities and overcome challenges in the near future. Let me introduce our brilliant panelists who are here to share their expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panelist is Dr. Shirish Sathaye. He is a distinguished technologist turned investor. He was a key leader at 4 Systems, which went public before being acquired for $4 billion, and at Altium Web Systems, where he served as the VP of Engineering and CTO before leading the company to a successful IPO and a $7.8 billion acquisition by Nortel. Dr. Sathaye is currently a partner at Servant Ventures. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shirish Sathaye. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our second panelist, Mr. Garje Marathi, a visionary entrepreneur, investor, and mentor. Mr. Kalke is a founder and partner at Five Plant Capital. He brings extensive expertise in venture capital, private equity, and commercial real estate, having successfully built and exited multiple ventures in industries like SaaS, fintech, supply chain, and insurtech. He is deeply committed to mentoring the next generation of leaders and empowering them to create social impact. Please join me in welcoming the dynamic and inspirational Mr. Garje Kalke. Our next panelist is Mrs. Sonali Sambhus, a revolutionary technology executive, board member, advisor, and outstanding author. Mrs. Sambhus is a partner at Thrive Ventures and former SVP at Square. Her entrepreneurial spirit shines through as the co-founder of 10 Jumps, a data analytics startup acquired by Sigeza. She has mentored hundreds of women leaders and wrote the book Elevate, a spectacular guide to achieving a work-life balance. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the inspiring Mrs. Sonali Sambhus. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce another great panelist, Mr. Sushant Suryagandha, a leading figure in technology investment banking and a managing director at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Mr. Suryagandha has advised on over 30 high-profile transactions, including landmark deals such as Salesforce's $28 billion acquisition of Slack, Dell's $68 billion acquisition of EMC, and IPOs for companies like Bill.com and Cloudera. Please join me in welcoming the accomplished Mr. Sushant Suryagandha. Please welcome our next panelist, Dr. Kaustubh Supekar. Dr. Supekar is an associate professor at Stanford University School of Medicine. His groundbreaking research leverages AI and neuroscience to uncover brain signatures in autism, schizophrenia, and other disorders. With a PhD from Stanford, Dr. Supekar is an incredible researcher who is a published author in top medical journals. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kaustubh Supekar. Our next panelist is Mr. Tarun Raisoni, CEO and co-founder of Groove Incorporated. Before Groove, he co-founded Rahi Systems, which is scaled to over $500 million in revenue and was later acquired by Westco. A serial investor, Mr. Raisoni has nurtured multiple startups, providing capital, expertise, and access to a global network. Mr. Raisoni has also been recognized as one of the top 100 CEOs by Comparably for 3 consecutive years. Please join me in welcoming the inspiring and accomplished Mr. Tarun Raisoni. And now, to steer this exciting discussion, we have our amazing moderator, Mr. Abhijeet Khadilkar. Mr. Khadilkar. Mr. Khadilkar is the managing partner at Spearhead and author of the award-winning book, Unlock. Being a great writer, he's also the perfect moderator, always having the right words, asking the right questions, and fueling insightful discussions. We are in great hands for today's conversation. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Abhijeet Khadilkar. Mr. Khadilkar, the stage is yours. Let's give our panel a warm round of applause.
कसे आहात सगळे? Amazing. I know it's a couple of weeks to go before we close out 2024. Let's hear it for the Bay Area Center of Excellence team who put together this really visionary event. And can we hear one more round of applause for Shalaka? She is absolutely amazing. Thank you, and thank you, esteemed panelists, for coming here. माझं नाव अभिजित खाडिलकर आणि मी बरेच वेळा जोक मारतो की खाडिलकरचं ओरिजिन इज खा आणि डील कर. सो आपण आधी डील करूया इकडे आणि मग नंतर खायला जाऊया. असं पण म्हणतात की पहिल्या 2 मिनिटात जर जोक नाही मारला तर तो फाऊल धरला. You know, Horizon 2025, what a great opportunity for us to look back and start planning for the next year. And for the panelists, and this question is for anybody, maybe we can start with Sonali. And if you look back at 2024, start to think about some of the highlights we've had, especially you've had in 2024, some of the learnings. What are the things that you look back, let's say in 2024, that were highlights for you, some of the learnings that you would take for planning for 2025? Any thoughts? Starting with Sonali, and then everybody can, of course, participate.
Yeah, well, I probably don't need a mic. माझ्या मुली म्हणतात I'm too loud, but if you can't hear me, let me still use the mic. So, 2024, I mean, a number of big things. Obviously, AI, talk of the town, hundreds of billions in funding, hundreds of thousands of AI startups. I will convey that back to my children.
Yes. Great feedback.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, hundreds of billions in funding, hundreds of thousands of AI startup popping up starting 2023. And I thought that 2024, in some sense, was, where, if you look at the Gartner hype cycle, you guys have probably heard this many times. So, the sort of, with any new technology adoption, there's a hype cycle, then it goes to peak of inflated expectations, then there's a trough of disillusionment, and then there's a plateau of productivity, right? So I felt like we sort of, in my view, the hype was sort of started in some sense, the madness coming down, I'd say the lower tier AI startups out of the ring, all of that stuff, in my view, happened in 2024. Maybe there's more. But for me personally, what I do is I'm a board of director of a public company. I'm a startup advisor to multiple different AI startups, as you might guess. And so how that played to me in 2024 is really helping my, identifying sort of, much like what Shirish does, identifying the needles in the haystacks, the gems in the stone. And so I personally learned sort of being able to identify the right startups. Can you guys still hear me?
Maybe try this.
The button is on, but it's not. Yeah. So for me, I think in my process of learning in 2024, as I built a portfolio of the AI startups that I advise and that I've helped grow, I got better, in my view, at identifying the right AI startups that were identifying meaningful problems to solve for, bringing them to market and really helping them scale. As an example, I'm a startup advisor for a company called Work AI, which is pretty pre-product market fit. In 2023, we were struggling to take sense of lots of AI and trying to find the right opportunity. 2024, I feel like a lot of such startups have found product market fit. Same for these startups that I advise, and we went from pre-product market fit, toying with lots of AI, things, this, that, and the other, to actually, coming to $1 million in revenue and a pathway of tens of millions. So I feel like that's the story of a lot of AI startups out there who or quite a lot of AI startups, at least the ones that I come under the view of. So that's one. And second thing is, as a public company board of director, I think one of the things that we did, which is probably true of a lot of others, is we went from this stage of sort of hyper growth, pump in the money, grow your revenue, to sort of move towards profitable growth, right? And that's been a shift post-COVID, and as a public company board of director, a lot of my energy was spent in not just like getting those 20, 30, 40% year-over-year growths, but how do you improve your EBITDAs, your profitability, all that good stuff which makes you more investment worthy, which honestly Wall Street loves, right? Wall Street awards, those companies, as you can see, where there's more profitability. And so as a public board of director, a lot of my energy was spent in sort of making our company, which was not profitable, to now hitting an EBITDA of 20 this year, and then hopefully 45 next year. So
that's great. And Sonali, as you look back at 2024, those are some great lessons. Pivoting towards profitable growth, and then of course riding AI as a vector. Other thoughts, team, that you would have in terms of learnings from 2024 that you think were sort of highlights? You really thought that, oh, this is super interesting, and I'm going to carry this in my bag of nuggets so that as I start to think about 2025.
So 2024 was a very unusual year in my view. If you look at a few things going on, the stock market essentially outperformed everybody's expectations. So these hyperscalers and technology companies have record profits, record market caps, and they are throwing off tremendous free cash flow. In spite of that, they're laying people off, which is quite unusual. Usually, human behavior, when there's high profits and high stock prices, we hire a lot of people. Some would say too many people. So why are they laying people off? Well, it took me a little while to figure this out. They're laying people off because they're taking all that cash that they're keeping with themselves, and they're doing two things. They are buying back their stock, and they're investing in AI data centers. That's why you see NVIDIA stock where it is. So that's one unusual aspect. In the meantime, there's a whole bunch of companies that have not been able to go public in 2024 because the IPO threshold to go public is incredibly high. Unlike several years ago, today you have to have 400 million in revenue. You have to have growth, I'd love to hear your views on this. You will notice more about this than I do for sure. 400 million revenue, and you have to have profitability and growth and abide by what is called the rule of 40, which is your growth plus profitability should exceed 40, and we can go into details later. So this is unusual. However, in 2025, I see things changing. I see companies going public. There's a whole bunch of companies, by the way, who meet these requirements, who didn't go public because of the interest rate environment. So that has changed. The regulatory environment is likely to change. So I think I see a very exciting 2025 shaping up.
Good morning, everyone. Namaskar. Maybe I'll start. This is just for 2024. This is my 10-year anniversary of doing this investment banking at BFA. And within that 10 years, my wife has switched 4 careers, so she thinks I'm too boring. But it's just been interesting being part of technology sector on the other side. And I was an engineer back at AMD in 2005, 2006 timeframe when NVIDIA and AMD weren't that in vogue as they are right now. And Intel was probably 100 times larger than NVIDIA, but it is 3% of NVIDIA right now. And so I've done that as probably a first career, and then been doing investment banking and specifically covering software companies. And I think the evolution I've seen when I started in 2013, it was all about social, local, mobile. Facebook had just gone public. Everything. Groupon was a high-profile company back in the days. Everything was about getting deals, getting advertisements, and capturing eyeballs on your mobile, right? From that point on, we saw the transition to cloud, which was in 2015 to 2019 timeframe, and right now, as my panelists suggested, it's all about AI. So I think that's the trend we are seeing in investment banking as well. Just specific to Abhijeet's point, I would say the 2 themes that resonate, and not for 2024, but I would say for the last 3 years, as I talk to the companies, the CEOs, CFOs, and boards of public and private companies, it's all about adaptability and resilience, right? And I think Sonali touched on that, how companies have to adapt from faster growth to, getting into balanced growth, more profitability. But if you think about the timeline, right, 2021, everything was going gangbusters. We saw 2022, the stock markets pulled down, right? Companies were just struggling, figuring out what to do, how to manage people, how to control their spending. Coming 2023, we had the SVB crisis, right? Which is nobody expected. All of a sudden, on one fine Thursday, people just couldn't, businesses just couldn't transfer the money, right? I think people had to deal with that stuff. And then towards the end of 2023, OpenAI came up with the ChatGPT, and that changed the whole ball game for 2024. So the companies that are, and then my clients who have been successful and who are doing better now, are the ones that have adapted really well to these changing landscape and ecosystem, and have been very resilient in changing the business model, being nimble, thinking about the product roadmap and adopting technology in the right way. I think we can go into the IPOs and all that later on, but that's from my standpoint. Those are the takeaways.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, 2024 and last couple of years have been so interesting, but it really begs the question, are we in a bubble right now? Are we in a place where, the valuations are skyrocketing, and no matter how much interest rates are pumped up by Jeremy Powell, it actually doesn't affect valuations? Have we reached escape velocity where it actually doesn't matter, we'll just keep growing? Where do you guys sit on the side of this? Are we in a bubble? Are we not in a bubble? The music is still playing, so we should keep dancing. Where do you guys sit on this? Question is for anyone who wants to go.
Maybe I can start.
Yeah, go for it.
Probably the closest to this, and see this every day. Look, I think what happened, in the zero interest rate environment, and the valuation and the stocks, that were going in 2020 and 2021, investors had a ton of money to invest in. Right, and as long as companies are growing at a strong clip without really profitability, I think those companies were getting really good valuation. And as a result, companies raised a ton of money, spent a ton of money, all for the growth. And then people and some businesses had a lot of money to spend as well, because there was $6 trillion of fiscal spending that went into US economy. There was a ton of monetary stimulus as well with the zero interest rate policies. So I think that really impacted the stock prices in a positive way. And one metric we look at in terms of when we look at the valuation, for every single dollar of revenue, companies were getting 30 times multiple in terms of the enterprise values. The companies were this 30 times every single dollar they were generating, and that was the ZERF phenomena, as the free money phenomenon, right? I think if you look at right now, the public markets obviously corrected really fast in 2020, 2023. I think that number from 30 to right now is around 5 or 6, right? So I think that's around, you can say, close to 70%. I think what hasn't happened is the private companies that raised the capital at that crazy valuation in those 2020 and 2021 timeframe, they are kind of stuck, right? Because that's the last valuation mark that they have. And then there are 1,500 unicorns right now. These are the companies that have private valuation, greater than 1 billion. And the fascinating fact is, this number 1,500 is more than the public companies with 1 billion plus valuation. So there are more private companies worth 1 billion than there are public companies in the US stock market. So just interesting. So I would say last thing I would say on the valuation, right, and Shirish made a great point. 2024 is an unusual year where the S&P has been strong. But if you peel the onion a little bit, I think a lot of that performance has come from Max 7, right? Or the companies that are large, that have tons of data, that are leveraging AI and getting benefits of that. I think outside of those companies, I think a lot of mid-cap, small-cap companies, I think the valuation and the stock price performance has actually been just okay, not that great. So as you think about 2025, maybe I think that's as an investment. I think that's probably some homework to do there from the investment standpoint.
Yeah, and maybe Jay, I don't know if you want to add to, because you operate in a world which is interest rate sensitive, and I don't know if you have a point of view.
Yes, I do. I don't ever worry about bubbles because deals happen. I've been doing this since 1998.
Only a few years.
But I took a big break after my accident. For 12 years, I didn't do anything. I just started last year. So, but nothing has really changed. There's so much money chasing so many deals all the time. I have always said this, investment has timeline, not a deadline. And that has worked very, very well for me. And so yes, some people will call it bubble. I never ever worry about these macro things because I swim in a small lake. And what happens in my trade area is what matters, and I can replicate that in many places. And I've been able to do that successfully over and over in my space. But I do agree, echo the sentiment at larger scale, that yes, that's news, that's what everybody talks about, but you still can find the nuggets in every space as you go.
Can I add
Yeah, please do.
So I think back to what you were saying earlier, right? So all of the investor attention, institutional attention has actually really shifted to the AI companies, and it has left the rest of us, like for example, I'm deep in the fintech sector, high and dry, right? So as an example, we did evaluation of SaaS startups and SaaS public companies and the evaluations. What we found was that if you were a SaaS fintech versus if you're a SaaS AI versus you're a SaaS something else, right? The fintechs, which by the way were Wall Street darlings, 3-4 years back, where you had Square stock jump to 295, PayPal to whatever, right? So all of those crazy highs, right? Now hit their all-time lows, right? So I think back to what you were also saying, that all of these are sort of going through cycles. But the point I wanted to make is, while all of the investor attention, institutional attention has gone to AI, the rest of the sectors, like financials, like others, like small caps, have actually been starved, and they are trading at far low PE multiples than ever before. So in my view, there is some opportunity out there.
Excellent. Great points. Love it. So why don't we move towards 2025? And I want to go to Kaustav and of course to Tarun as well. Maybe looking at 2025 in the sense that आता ह्याच्या पुढे कुठल्या opportunities आहेत? Where should we really think of emerging areas where we think, oh, you know what, this could be super interesting, maybe not only in 2025, but probably beyond 2025 as well. Any thoughts around opportunities that are coming up? And you have a great vantage point, so please share your perspective.
Yeah, just I'm learning so much. It's like a lot of stuff is like so new for me, but it's amazing to be part of this panel. So I come from academia. We don't talk about bubbles. We just take one step at a time. Just to give you a background, I'm a neuroscientist by training. Been at Stanford for like 24 years now. Just to like show of hands, like how many people have mental health problems in the US? Just estimate. Anyone want to take a guess? Yeah, mental health problems like mental illness,
like percentage.
Yeah, just our numbers.
Yeah, you want to do a poll? Let's say 5%.
I'll start the numbers since we talked about bubbles.
Yeah, go for it.
50 million, 60 million, how many? 1/3. Yeah, so almost 100 million people in the US have some kind of mental health problems. How about in India? No, detected problems. Official data from the Indian government and the WHO. Yeah, so the latest estimate, which was done in 2018 before the pandemic, was around 200 million people. Right? And that's incredible. We talk about bubble, and the numbers are increasing like crazy. That bubble is growing like it's a bad bubble. There are so many people who have problems, and and still psychiatry, which I'm part of, it's still in the 18th century, right? So if you have anxiety, your loved ones will have it, or your friends have it. How do you treat them right now? Anyone? Or depression, or schizophrenia, or
counseling, therapy.
Yeah, so you basically go and sit on a couch, and someone has therapy, and you have no idea whether it works or not, right? And I talk it's a Chinese buffet problem. There are many things people try out. I go on Reddit, figure out some stuff, and it just does not work. And this problem has been there for a really, really long time, right? And we've been struggling to find solutions to it. But what I think, since we're talking about 2025 and beyond, there's a huge opportunity from all spaces. We are rapidly evolving in the technology space as the AI revolution is going on right in Silicon Valley. But we are also getting better understanding of the brain. The neuroscience is advancing at rapid pace, right? Not just because of technology, but our understanding of the domain is increasing. So I think, and the interest from the venture capitalists and people are thinking about, this is a problem which can be solved. Even if you had asked me 5 years back, I thought this was a problem which was impossible to solve in my lifetime. So going forward, I feel in 2025, we need to think about solutions where we could, find solutions, at least help them. We are never going to be able to find treatment for this disorder in the next decade or so, because brain is so complex. How could we help these individuals, in rural parts of Maharashtra? And I do a lot of education forums in India, in Peru, in China, and all kinds. There are problems everywhere, and they absolutely have no help. So how could we use technology? How could we understand, neuroscience? How do we understand all these things so that we help these people? The first step is to help, right? And then we need to, really go a long way ahead in, actually treating this problem. So I think there is some hope in that front. That's what.
Amazing. What a great point of view. You get to solve massive problems in the world. You create value. You also gain karma points. So it's a win-win-win across the board. That's a great Venn diagram right there. I want to also go to Tarun, and Tarun has an amazing vantage point of being an operator and a successful CEO, growing companies at high growth. So, curious, what are you thinking about for 2025 and beyond?
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for having me on this panel. I mean, this is a remarkable panel, by the way, so really great job by the committee to organize this and invite us here. So from my perspective, I think we are sitting in one of the best markets in the world today. There is no other market as good and as strong as the US market. So, and absolutely there is a huge amount of opportunity in this market. If you took the first 50 companies by market cap or by size or segment, and you looked at the rest, 450 or the next 1,000, the opportunity for those companies is huge. And they have not been recognized by any of the market players so far. So they have been left so behind because everybody is chasing either the Max 7 or the known names that everybody sees. So I think huge market in US, very strong market. I think this year we also got clarity on what the next 4 years are going to look like. So it looks like a lot of deregulation, a lot of M&A activity. The IPO market is going to unfreeze. So I mean the vectors of growth from a business point of view are fairly strong. The second thing I'll say is on the topic of AI, we've been hearing it for the last couple of years now, especially with generative AI that exploded into the market. But there is a huge ecosystem behind AI. So what is that ecosystem? It's silicon processors, it's systems, it's then those systems getting deployed into data centers, it's then software that goes and runs into those data centers. And then ultimately it's the data that sits on top of all of that software that allows you to then analyze and have more insights. Well, there is no other country in the world today that has this entire ecosystem. Literally there is no other country. There are countries that have one piece, or this piece, or that piece, but there is no country that has this entire ecosystem. To give you the size of the scale, like if you go to Northern Virginia, Northern Virginia has 4.2 gigawatts of data centers. That is equivalent of all of Europe combined times 3. Right? So, that size, just in Northern Virginia alone, is massive. Third thing I'll share with you is tangible exports. The world always was evolved around tangible exports, right? How many containers are we shipping and what products are we shipping, etc. But the number one export out of America today is actually digital bits. And we export those in the form of cloud services, software, insights. And that is actually on a much more stronger vector than anything else out there. So if you think about it, we have the reserve currency of the world, and then we are making everybody buy digital bits that are intangible. There's no measurement metric to say like these many number of bits got shipped outside the world, outside the US. So, this is a very, very strong vector of growth. Right? You asked a very good question about bubbles, and that's the number one thing that worries me. As a business operator, my worry is like how many of my customers are sitting in a bubble, and when they correct, how much does that correction impact me? Right?
Yep.
So, I think there is definitely bubbles. I think the key is to identify what are the bubbles, and those bubbles have a very strong trend out there. However, what has changed is the speed at which things get corrected. So as an example, some of us lived through the dot-com bubble, and that dot-com bubble was with us for almost 2 years. I guarantee you the next bubble with us is going to be probably there for 30 days. And it's going to correct that fast. And when that correction happens, we're going to feel like the world has just collapsed, right? It happened at the start of COVID, right? And the market corrected within 2 weeks. And, since then, we've been actually sitting in a rally ever since, right? So the next correction is also going to happen fast. So those are the things I think about,
yeah.
and
Great.
that's where I think.
I love the tapestry. I love the macro and the specific technical. Let me go to opportunities that he sees in 2025 and beyond. And maybe another angle to add there is, are there any sort of negative trends that you also see? Like, there might be positive trends out there. There's a lot of growth, and as Tarun mentioned, This is a great place. We are at the intersection of a lot of great vectors, a lot of opportunity. Are there also some challenges in the market? So just, Shirish?
So there's 2 or 3 things going on. Right? As I said earlier, in 2025, because of the interest rate environment and deregulation, there will be a lot more IPOs and general optimism. On the other hand, if you look at the AI hyperscalers called OpenAI, Anthropic, Mistral, and others, there's and Perplexity and on and on. These companies today, in my view, they don't announce numbers. They're all private companies. But in my view, they all have negative gross margins. Because companies are spending, I know one specific company that's spending $200 million a month on infrastructure, right? And whereas the customers are paying them $50 a month, right? So it takes a lot of customers to sort of even make up just the infrastructure costs, let alone the cost of salaries and so forth. So that has to adjust in a big way. And I use the word adjust, that's like an understatement by a factor of 100. So that the trough of disillusionment is coming, probably towards the end of 2025. However, AI is here to stay. So the opportunities that I see are not more brute force large language models and this talk of resurrecting 3 Mile Island to sort of provide power and all that sort of thing. It's to have domain-specific small language models that enterprises will run inside the data centers behind the firewall, because there's a lot of fear of data getting out there and so forth. So if you can train small language models using proprietary data so that it hallucinates less and solve specific problems. Maybe Genentech has a small language model that's trained on all of the clinical trials ever, as an example, right? Maybe, Goldman Sachs has a small language model that analyzes all the IPOs in the past and figures out what makes sense, right? Things like that. So that's where we are seeing a lot of companies coming to us, and we're looking at it very energetically. What I also see, which I'm not excited about, is what I call the bolt-on AI company, which is you take some capability that existed and you bolt on an OpenAI front end to it, and of course that works, but there's no moat, there's no differentiation. Anybody else can do that in 2 months or less. So the bolt-on AI companies, we see them all the time. We don't invest in any of them. But the fundamentally different AI companies are the ones who will build small language models that we talked about earlier, train it on vertical specific data. For example, I can imagine a small language model that is sold to networking companies like Cisco, Arista, and others, that is trained on all the internet RFCs ever, and all the user manuals of all of the company and its competitors. So that when you go to Merrill Lynch and there is a problem in the IT world, the AI can tell you where the problem is. It will be fully trained on that. So I think there we see domain-specific small language models trained on specific data, where I think I see a lot of opportunity.
Amazing. Love the balance view. Anything you want to add?
I echo the sentiment. Of course, small LLMs or small SLMs are going to be a big deal. Going back to your Northern Virginia, I was at a family office conference just last week, and they did talk about the saturation of Northern Virginia. Now there are going to be pockets, because all these data centers have to be local. There's going to be so much data. And another field that's coming up in the discussion, or did come up in the discussion, was small nuclear power plants. Because there is no other power source that can support. If you guys can come up with how to cool those data centers, you can make a lot of money. Those are some of the things. Data, of course, like this is a new gold, new oil. A lot of AI is already talked about. So I personally looking at something completely different. So what can we do that's not been done in a way? So we looked at how VC ecosystem has been working for the last 40 plus years, how the PE ecosystem has been working for. So why can't we just break this, take the good things out and make something completely new? So we are going to build ecosystem for the ecosystem. Something, I think has never been done, and I think it's got a lot of value and a lot of, because every supply chain, when they meet their restriction, there is inefficiency. And that's an opportunity. So every time somebody set the restriction, I look for opportunity there. And we are just going to be building, what are we calling this? Company building factory. Platforms for platforms is what we're going to be working on. So keep an eye, I will be talking about it later again, but
आपण नक्कीच बोलूया नंतर
Yeah, I'll start from my vantage point, right? I think looking at the capital markets and M&A activity, I think for the entrepreneurs here or portfolio companies that in Shirish and other VC investors, I think there are essentially three exits, right, for those companies. One's going public, second's getting acquired by a strategic larger acquirer, or third is getting acquired by private equity. And all those three exits have been challenged last 3-4 years, right, for various reasons. I think the IPO investors, the profile of the company they are looking for doesn't match with many private companies out there in terms of the growth, in terms of the profitability or the valuation that they wanted. I think that's changing now because, as Sonali mentioned, these companies have made changes, they are more balanced now, they are grown into their valuation. And so as a result, I think the IPO activity in 2025 is going to be picking up quite substantially. In a typical year, before COVID, in a typical year you would see 35 to 40 tech IPOs a year. Since 2022 through 24, we have only seen 3 software IPOs. So I think that's a big gap there. So that's a big wave of IPOs coming in 25 and 26. If you look at the M&A, the strategic M&A, I think the biggest driver they're going to be the change in regulatory, right? That was one of the reasons we didn't see many M&A. And it's a Salesforce or Amazon or Microsoft buying. They were hesitant buying even a smaller company because they just didn't know.
It was also because of Lina Khan, but yes.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm being polite and not. So I think that environment is changing where it's going to be more pro M&A friendly environment going forward. The other thing is all the strategic CEOs and boards, they need the confidence in the broader macro to do M&A and really sort of believe and buy in the business, right? I think that environment is changing as well. And then last thing I would say, the private equity. I think one of the biggest drivers for not having a lot of private equity deals was the cost of capital. It was just too high for them to do buyouts or buy private companies or public companies with debt. I think with the interest rates coming down, that's going to be a very favorable driver as well going forward. So I think that, the numbers I see sitting for all the entrepreneurs out there, there's around 5 trillion of capital with VCs and private equity that's available that needs to get deployed. These guys don't make money sitting on the cash. You've got to deploy the money and make returns. So I think we are going to be in an amazing Goldilocks period for 2025 as it seems.
Yeah. Sonali?
So I wanted to add something from our technology and AI technology vantage point. I imagine there's a lot of technologists sitting here in Silicon Valley. And so in AI, we've seen different things come and go. The one thing that I see hugely coming up, it's already coming up in 2024, more in 2025, is the acceleration of AI agents. Right? So I was sitting with Mac Whale, who's the startup head for OpenAI, and looking at OpenAI's top 4 priorities. The top 2 are enabling creating of AI agents. It's obvious for them because the more they enable, the more their platform gets used. But we're seeing this all across. Like for example, Salesforce had their earnings calls. The CEO mentioned the word AI agent frameworks. Guess what? 80 times, right? And so that tells you it's not just the LLM companies of the world, but it's actually also the large caps, the mega caps that are now looking at AI agents, and so are many different startups. And to me, this shift is kind of like akin to what happened with smartphones, right? So when smartphones came about, you had your app stores, you had your play stores, and all of the smartphone industry today is in billions, but the apps that live in the smartphones are trillions of dollars of industry. And so to me, all of these foundational folks enabling AI agents is in that way similar. If these foundational companies are making billions, the AI agents, and these are not just bots by the way, they're sophisticated, chaining and all of those types of agents, they present a far larger opportunity for folks who have meaningful domain knowledge to go and disrupt those with this technology.
Awesome. Thank you.
Maybe I'll just add on the AI. And look, I mean, as Sonali mentioned, we are just scratching the surface, the opportunity we have for the knowledge workers. But the other lens to look at it is, OpenAI, Perplexity, all these agents, they are only being trained on all the data that's human generated. So far, all the internet, everything that's human generated data. I think that other thing I hear from companies, hear from entrepreneurs all the time, there is multitude of that data in the real life, right? And for one company that has done really well of that is Tesla, obviously, in the autonomous driving. But you think about like the first sort of autonomous driving car that went from here to Las Vegas, I think that was a Stanford DARPA project. That was 20 years ago. So, and now we are here, enjoying the full self-driving mode, right? So it's a 20-year cycle, hundreds of billions of investment in just that project to get there. So then you look at all the other industries where there are tons of real data where AI is not even being applied, and you can imagine the runway you have to apply this technology and get the benefits from that.
Okay. Yeah, great insights. Kaustubh, you want to
I just want to put a different hat from an academic perspective of how things are changing. It's incredible. I've been teaching undergraduate course at Stanford for the last 7 or 8 years. And in the last couple of years, I've noticed, you teach and have office hours, and the number of people who are attending, or number of students who are attending office hours has dramatically gone down. So I was like, am I doing something wrong? Right? And then we also have a faculty meeting where everyone talks about, post the quarter has been done. And almost everyone had the same experience. And so what is actually happening is the technology and being in Silicon Valley, the education space is changing dramatically. And in ways where you cannot even think about, right? I was in education, just to go there, I don't do any education research, but as an academic, I went there, and people like superintendents of Palo Alto District and San Francisco, they're thinking of not having teaching writing and to middle school students. They're like, we have OpenAI now, so why do we need to teach sentence structure or grammar? And that's radical. And that's, it's not just in middle school. We are seeing it at the graduate level at Stanford as well, like how we need to teach and what needs to be taught. So there's, tremendous changes are going to happen rapidly, right? And we see it, and it's like incredible. We have one of the most popular sort of requirement at Stanford. If you're an undergraduate, you have to take something called as writing rhetoric, right? Where every Stanford undergraduate has to take that course. They actually decided to completely fire every instructor in the department this year, which is, you could never ever think about that because it's a core requirement. So I feel, we talk about other domains, but I think education is going to change dramatically, and it's going to affect everyone at every levels of learning. And so it will be interesting to see how that sort of changes, not just within the US, but outside the US, and how we could use that to improve access to knowledge and information.
Great perspective. Tarun, do you want to add to that? 2025 opportunity.
Track our kids' activities better. At least I hope so. So that's where I think the world of agents is going. I think the second thing is AI has to come in mechanical form in our lives in different ways, which we also call as robotics. But it will take over jobs that nobody wants to do. And that's a place where AI is going to have tremendous benefit. Right? And companies that are at forefront of that are going to do a lot more. I'll give you a good example of Waymo. My family happened to be at a LA game 10 days ago, and there were a whole bunch of Waymo cars lined up on the street in LA. And the adoption of that was super fast. And when you think about it, how many companies in the world have 10 billion miles of autonomous driving that they have on record, and there's only 2. So, it is increasingly going to be winner-take-all market, which is why you see Tesla, trading at a premium, where it's practically the combination of all the rest of the automobile companies in America on one side and Tesla on the other side. And I remember that there used to be this chart which used to show like how market cap progresses in the future. So if you looked in the pandemic, Zoom's market cap was equivalent to all of the travel companies combined, right? And of course it got corrected, right? So I think these are things that will come up, and I think you have to really measure it in a decade to see where those progressive things happen.
Awesome. Yeah. Great vantage point. Love the idea of agents plus humans. And great balanced thought. So there's challenges and opportunities. Let's sort of pivot a little bit and go to some let's do a last quick question. Let's do rapid fire, and then we'll open it up for the audience to ask a few questions. Rapid fire, मध्ये आपण असा विचार करूया की what does this mean for us as individuals? So यामध्ये मराठी माणूस काय करू शकतो? मी तुम्हाला आधी एक्झाम्पल देतो. मराठी माणूस काय करतो? ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी चॅलेंज. सो ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी चॅलेंज म्हणजे कसं? वर्ल्ड कप सेमीफायनल आहे, इंडिया पाकिस्तान. Opportunities, India should go into the final and win the World Cup. Challenges, Shoaib Akhtar is bowling the most unbelievable bouncers. What does the Marathi Manas do? He plays one of the most unbelievable cricket shots, plays the uppercut, changes the momentum of the game, turns the vibes around, and then turns those challenges into opportunity, and basically wins the game. So, what should Garje Marathi member, and quite frankly all Marathi people should do to take advantage of these challenges and opportunities? Anything you would like to share super quick before we go to the audience?
Well, I'll say something quickly, not just for Marathis, but for everyone. In the past, the formula has been ask your kids to go into computer science, they learn programming, they get a $300,000 job. That's gone. Sundar Pichai said in his earnings call that already 25% of the software is being written by AI. So now, soft skills, and by the way, I disagree about this, not needing to write, right? Completely, strongly. In fact, soft skills and interpersonal relationships are going to be far more important than being able to write code. I know liberal arts majors who took a coding boot camp and got a $300,000 job. That's gone. If it's not gone, it's going away. Just like you don't want your 22-year-old friend who's a truck driver to make that a career, you don't want your 18-year-old to go into computer science and only learn how to program. That's gone. So what we have to do is be mindful of the calamity that is coming because of AI, right? With every opportunity there is danger. And so soft skills, requirement management, and by the way, let me tell you one word I heard. We always hear the new concepts sooner than others, for better or worse. I heard this concept of software composer. Not software developer, but software composer, who sort of puts things together and lets the ChatGPT or whoever write the rest of the code. So I think we have to be mindful of how new technologies are going to disrupt the lives of our kids before they enter college.
Shirish, love the counterintuitive way of thinking about this, and this is great insight. Thank you for sharing that. Jay?
Yes. My journey with this particular thing started in 2005 when I was on the BML Business Committee. And first thing I asked all our committee members was, अरे मराठी माणूस इतका हुशार, दुसऱ्यांच्यासाठी नोकऱ्या करून त्यांना का श्रीमंत करतो? आपण का स्वतःसाठी काय करत नाही? And I literally started a mission. Let's do something together. At that time we had will, but we did not have the resources. Today the things have changed. We have the will, we have the resources, we have critical mass, and change is going to happen regardless. It has always happened. And I think we will figure out lots of ways to make lots of things happen. And if you want to bring the real and permanent change, let's talk.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay.
I'd say, there is technology comes and goes. This is Horizon 25, next year will be Horizon 26. So things come and go. And what I believe is staying focused in terms of your superpowers, identifying what your superpowers are, focusing on those domains, right? Leading the AI, it could be healthcare, it could be robotics, it could be whatever. Stay focused, right? While staying abreast of technology, and identify your superpowers. And I feel like meaningful change happens when you stay dedicated, persistent, and just make it happen.
Being Marathi is our superpower.
That's right. Leverage your superpower. Sushant.
No, I think I would agree with everything my panelists have said here. I think I would just highlight, I think obviously, as Marathi, we are, or as Indians, we obviously super focused on tech, but there are just a lot of opportunities. I think we had a great talk on space and aeronautics. I think things happening there, things happening in healthcare. The amount of funding and investment going on in ESG, and I think there are a lot of areas to explore and be educated on outside of your comfort zone.
Great. I think just agree with everything what has been said in terms of just add from a couple of points, which is all of us have been so traditional and focus on one discipline and following it through, right? Which is great. But I think the future sort of belongs to people who have interdisciplinary knowledge. Which you need to have knowledge from multiple domains, and those are the people who are going to succeed, right? And because you need to have knowledge about AI, you need to knowledge about the domain which you're going to apply. You just cannot just know one thing. And the second aspect of things, which is community engagement. I think sometimes we lack, go to communities to see what the problems faced by the communities are. Could be at any level, and that could help us, start our own business, bring about change, to actually help people who want to solve their problems. Sometimes I see many times, we are trying to create solutions for problems which don't even exist, right? But there are so many problems which need, simple solutions, right? And if you engage with the community, with the background, we could, make a change which will help humanity and not a select few people on Wall Street or somewhere else.
Awesome. Also, you just touched upon two topics that are near and dear to my heart, so super quick comments. One is have multidisciplinary knowledge, which is, Charlie Munger is a big proponent of having a, basket or, set of mental models that you can apply for different situations. And Pensa partner Warren Buffett created this amazing community, which is now the Woodstock for capitalists as part of Berkshire. So you just hit on two of my favorite mentors right there. Thank you, Kaustuv. Tarun, you want to share a few?
Yeah, I think I'll take Kaustub's stand on community. So I actually got introduced to Garje Marathi this year by Jay. I met Jay in June. So I'm actually pretty impressed of coming into this community.
See, I told you.
Yeah, I am. And honestly, I grew up in Jalgaon. I was born in the US, and my parents decided to move back to Jalgaon. So I grew up in Jalgaon for almost 15 years of my life. And I would say, one of the things we should do is invest more into our Garje Marathi community. I think we have a lot of opportunity here.
100%.
We have phenomenal talent. I've spent some time with Shirish over the last couple of years. And honestly, every engineer I've taken to Shirish to get some education or mentorship comes back and says, "Oh, I love Shirish. I just want to hang out with him more." Right? So I think it's a huge opportunity for us to continue to build upon this.
I'm getting that feeling just by sitting.
Sure, sounds like a party animal right now. All right, let's go for some super quick questions in the audience. Sanjay had a question. Rupati had a question. There's a couple over there.
Yeah, I think I raised an hand before. Part of my question was already answered by Shirish. Okay, but I do have a specific question. You mentioned that the software is 25% of the software is being auto-generated. But at the same time, if you look at it, the AI, the robotics, and all these things, the demand for the software is also increasing, right? So, will it really impact the jobs, software engineering jobs, or will it increase the demand? I mean, so, yeah, on one side, okay, yeah, software is being auto-generated, okay, there's a lot of automation going on. Okay. But at the same time, the software demand is also increasing exponentially. Okay. How that is going to be?
Well, I think it will transform software engineering jobs. It won't kill them. People always think that when new technology comes, the old technology goes away. For example, when you invented the fax machine, you thought FedEx will go out of business, right? And obviously that did not happen. Right? So this happens over and over again. Then you came with computers. You thought there would be a paperless office. Now there is more paper than ever, right? And so software engineering jobs will transform. That's why I talk about software composers. Just like you don't design silicon chips today by laying down, poly and silicon, you work at a higher level of abstraction. Software engineering jobs will need to go up to the level of abstraction. But you're right, there's more and more software being required, which requires more and more software developers, software composers, and the whole agentic idea, where there will be many, many agents helping ourselves in our daily lives, will require more software developers.
Thank you. You had a question?
Thank you, panelists. Very inspiring discussion, thought-provoking discussion. I just want to give evidence that we were listening to all your points. So there was a point raised by a gentleman sitting next to Mr. Shirish. He mentioned, do you have solution for heat generated by data centers? And we have the solution that we have deployed in the last week, for which we got rewarded for $4 billion. It's called DFM, Direct Flash Modules, which are going to be used in all the hyperscalers. And last week we signed a contract, and our stock price increased by 25%. Secondly, the nuclear reactors may not pass the latest protocols of EHS, Environment, Health and Safety, not because they are going to blast or anything, but the material which is left behind, if we throw it in the space, then all those aliens that we are hunting, they may come hunt for us. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. So my name is Prashant Modewar. So I work for world's largest cloud infrastructure company. We build data centers and network edge for hyperscalers. My specific job is identifying right AI opportunities and translate those use cases productize those use cases and insights to run the business. So having seen AI workload increasing every day literally, and also seeing AI is used in the fabric of business left and right. So whether you're a pizza company or airline company or NASA, AI is there. So from investors' lens, how do you differentiate AI investment versus non-AI investment, or AI company versus non-AI company?
I can take a stab. I think it kind of goes back to what Shirish was saying. So there's, the way I see it is there is AI native company, and there's, Shirish is the right word, AI built on company. And so AI native companies are those for which either A and or they are doing a platform part to enable AI, and or their business or I would say their business relies a lot of on core of AI, right? So it's AI native versus a slap on user interface or anything like that. So that's how we look at AI native versus non-AI native, right? But I think more importantly is the fundamentals of the company from an investor perspective. I think Mohan used the right things, 3 T's, right? So team, talent, and action, right? Or team, part of the action. And so that's really what an investor looks for, right? In terms of, are they building the right product? Is it solving a unique customer problem as proven by customer traction? And then is this the right team doing the right job?
I'll just say that there is no such thing as a non-AI company. But if you're not doing AI, you meet your competitors, they're going to beat you and you're going to beat you. So there's no such thing as non-AI company.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah. I think we have Rupali here.
Yeah, we'll go to Rupali, and that's, I'll check in with the host as well and see if we have a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But as Shirish said, today we make phone calls on video, like we do FaceTime with our family and whatever else. Nobody says, I'm using the internet. Like, nobody says that. And so tomorrow we'll not be saying we're using AI. Sorry. Go for it, Rupali.
Sure. Hey everyone, so my question is for everyone, but specifically Costco, because you brought up the mental health aspect. So, I mean, all this technology is great, right? AI, Gen AI, agentic AI, which is making our lives easier. But how do you see all of these technologies affecting the mental health, especially kids who are growing up with so much automation, so much of data? Like, do you think industry is thinking from that perspective? Do they see it as a challenge? Like, what do you see in that space?
Yeah, great question. I could give you an example. 9-year-old daughter. I have zero screen policy for her. She has not seen a screen in her 9 years of her existence. And basically, it's two aspects of it. One is, I know, we have done studies like just using cell phone, whatever. It causes tremendous amount of changes at the brain level, and they're permanent. We have seen longitudinal effects. Exposure to these things have effects of, are you going to commit a crime, or do you commit suicide, going to have depression, like all kinds of, and everything. And so that's an issue. And what we are seeing from the tech industry is, can we replace your therapist with an AI chatbot? And people are not talking about, and then these people are already isolated if you have anxiety, if you have depression, right? And then people are not talking about the after effects, kind of the side effects of a drug, if you call it that way. And I treat this as a drug. And more research needs to be done because things are changing dramatically, right? OpenAI didn't exist a couple of years back, right? And, if 2 years back, if you had asked me, can you replace a therapist with an AI agent? It was impossible. But now we are seeing technologies doing that. And people are not looking at these things. And that's why I say the domain knowledge is so important. These companies are run by technologists, but they don't talk with the therapist, Please work with them. It's a human AI. So I would say there is companies, and as Shirish mentioned, there won't be no AI companies. We need to have human-centered AI, right? And that's the future. You cannot just have AI in isolation. So the human-centered AI companies are going to progress more so than people. And these questions then automatically will be built in part of the solution. And that's
I just have one thing. I just have to pitch one book that I read and it was transformative. So any of you who have a 9-year-old daughter, you're way ahead of everybody. Others who have like 10, 11-year-old kids, there's a book called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. Absolutely worth reading. This guy also wrote a book called The Happiness Hypothesis, which I read many years ago. But The Anxious Generation is a new book. It actually talks about the effect of social media and flipping, the doom scrolling or whatever.
Just one more book to add. There's a colleague of mine written a book called Dopamine Nation by Anna Lemke, and it's spectacular. It's based on neuroscience. It's very nice.
So just in the time constraint, we'll proceed with the other section because a lot of people have questions.
Sorry.
I think your panel has been successful in instigating that thought. So let's hear the thought from our आपल्या मराठी माणसांकडनं त्यांचे विचार जाणून.
Hello, my name is Anjali Gugle and I was introduced to GMG by Naresh Apte. Thank you, Naresh. So my question is generally for entire panel in this community is, after we dispersed from here, we got about superpowers, we got about opportunity. How do we translate this conversation into solving the problem as to, are we collectively, do we want to collect all the problems globally across and then distribute this community into tribes based on their subject matter expertise? Collectively understand the problems and build kind of blueprints where we create opportunities for all those who are looking for learning as well. So I come from the Pimpri-Chinchwad area in Pune. So definitely people need guidance. They need a blueprints which are at least thought over by, guided by different leadership. So how do we disperse from here and then continue this effort?
That basically is asking everybody to join Garje Marathi. She's from Pimpri-Chinchwad, so I take that opportunity. We have on 10th of January, Pimpri-Chinchwad University बरोबर आपला एक करार झालेला आहे. आणि त्या अनुसार तिथे there is a big event happening and that's why Anand Ganu and Sunita Ganu are not here. They are in India trying to get ready for that event. So if anybody is in Pune or planning to be in Pune around that time, please do connect with us. We'll give you all the information. आपण 15 तारखेनंतर त्या emails सुरू करू, so you will get more information via the email. Thank you so much. Anybody taking a stab at her, or should we go for another question? अभिजित किती आम्हाला एक दोन प्रश्न आहेत. बऱ्याच जणांना प्रश्न आहेत. I think we can always you can connect with them during lunch time. So I think I'll take one question. Yeah, let's go to the young audience here.
Hello. Hello everyone. This is Jay. So I work in a security and privacy domain, and now that we are talking about AI. And the like it's growing very rapidly, and generally like our observation is regulation and all the stuff is always lagging behind the technology and all the stuff. So how like what are your thoughts in general, how to secure data access in general, that maybe it's a scientific journal or maybe it's any other data that's private data, but right now AI is accessing it with or without permission, and we are already seeing like lots of lawsuits with OpenAI on this stuff. I just wanted to know your opinion about this data access and data security.
To me, it's just a cat and mouse game, so I don't have the answer, but I'll get a follow-up.
Yeah, I think you bring up a very relevant question, Jen, which is how do we think about security, cybersecurity, data privacy, in this world of AI. So AI is going to grow, but I think the collateral of that is that security is going to become even more and more paramount. So any company today that is thinking about AI, the first thing they will think about with AI is security. And they will think about data privacy, whether it is an enterprise company, consumer company. And security, especially when it comes to cyber security, is a highly fragmented space. You'll find so many companies in security, and the number of startups that come up in security every day is just incredible. So there is a construct going around right now which is, hey, let's platformize security, where you can go to 1, 2, 3 vendors and they give you all the security and everything else you need. So I think this is one area where I see that there will be a lot of innovation, there will be quite a bit of consolidation, and there will be a huge growth. This is one market that will continue to grow. So if you're in a career in security, great. If you're not in a career in security, but you see security as a collateral to what you're doing, invest time into it. If you're working for a company where security is paramount to you, invest time into it. So I see this as a huge important initiative in the next 10 years with where we are. So, thank you.
Super quick.
I think in the interest of time, we'll go to the next section here. Next question. Sorry, Abhijeet.
Yeah,
because there are many people who really want to contribute here. We have Smruti.
Hi, my name is Smruti Gore. मी healthcare आणि medical device याच्यात काम करते. मला असं विचारायचं आहे की आपण मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी नॉलेज किंवा याच्याबद्दल जेव्हा बोलतो आणि ट्रेडिशनली एका ह्याच्यात शिकलेलो असतो तर व्हॉट इज द राईट वे टू गेन नॉलेज फ्रॉम अदर डिसिप्लिन्स? इज इट जस्ट फॉर्मल ट्रेनिंग और नेटवर्किंग? व्हॉट इज युअर ओपिनियन ऑन दैट?
I think a mix of both. From what I'm seeing, so places like Stanford, we have things like continuing medical education, which is open to everybody, and it has get access to almost all majority of the courses. And that's the formal way of doing this. But the thing about technology nowadays, right? You collaborate with Khan Academy and stuff. Now everything is on YouTube, right? So there is no stopping of what you want to learn. And then you combine that with applying that knowledge. For me, there are two aspects of knowledge acquisition. One is you go to the lectures, but the best way we know how the brain of children encodes knowledge is when you apply that knowledge. So if you have, learn the basics, and then while solving a problem, learn something specific to those things, you're going to be great. So I think that would be the my way of doing things.
So I think Abhijeet, आपल्याला एक पदक घेऊ शकतो.
Yeah, please. And just to answer that, like the audio, the video, all that helps, and kinesthetic learning is probably the best, as Kaustav mentioned. One more question?
Yes, one more question, and then we'll ask Naresh for the vote of thanks. Anybody? Last one?
Last question. Save the best for the last. It has to be the best question.
So yeah, I think Shirish pointed to him, so let's go to the middle of the thing, and then we'll take the follow-up question on this when all the even Garje Marathi board members will be there. So we won't forget. Yeah.
I'll steal this mic for a second. So I'm Anand Doshi. I just spoke about mic. I know many of you have an idea about POC or business or this and that. Come talk to us. We'll get students to build your POC. There will be some commitment required, but we'll make it happen for you. Thank you.
With AI.
With AI.
Nice plug there, Anand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Big pressure on me for the last question. Samir Bodkar, I'm originally from Pune, but traveling from Melbourne, Australia. So, two hats I wear, one in IT and second is in media, so marketing. So here's a question, what do you see for Maharashtrians creating content that is something similar to K-drama on Netflix, if you've seen? 75-80 million Koreans have been creating a lot of good content that is internationally appealing, going beyond Korea, but Maharashtrian or Marathi content, 110 million or so on this blue planet, but not very good content. Anyone interested? I'll be happy to have more conversations on those.
Yeah, that sounds great. Actually, there is great Marathi content online. There's content creators. I mean, some of them probably we personally know as well. So I think that movement has started. You're absolutely right. There is more to be done. Probably more with some venture capital as well. A lot of great opportunity for Marathi content creators for sure.
And another I saw on the screen before, there was Indo-US trade, and I'd like to open Australia-US trade conversation as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Garje Marathi has an Australia chapter. It's non-profit in Australia as well as New Zealand. Absolutely. So welcome. I think Dr. Vijay जोशी बुवा ज्यांना गडकरी अगदी प्रेमाने हाक मारतात, ज्यांना नाईट ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया सचिन तेंडुलकरच्या आधी मिळालं, ते विजय जोशी इज व्हेरी मच पार्ट ऑफ गर्जे मराठी, अँड थँक्यू फॉर कमिंग ऑल द वे फ्रॉम ऑस्ट्रेलिया. Yes.
Perfect. Thank
so
you.
This was the last question, and we'll ask Naresh for a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Sure.
Wow, what an amazing discussion. From reflecting on the highlights of 2024 to mapping out new strategies for 2025, today's panel has left us with a treasure trove of ideas and inspiration. Let's give a huge round of applause to our incredible panelists. I'd like to ask our panelists to stay up here for a moment, and I'd like to invite GMG board member Mr. Lalit Shinde to felicitate all of them. it is time to express our heartfelt gratitude to all of those who made GMG Horizon 2025 possible. To lead us in the vote of thanks, I'm delighted to invite Mr. Naresh Apte, a valued representative of our organizing team and someone who has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event come to life. Naresh ji, over to you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Is your head exploding yet? So much information. Thank you guys for taking time today and being part of the panel as well as being speakers. So there's so much to learn from all of you, so little time. So I'm sure we will have many more conversations to have individually as well as collectively. So just like today, if I could ask all of you, all of the panelists, all of the speakers, to give your time to our community so that collectively we can do better things in 2025 and beyond, that'll be great. So thank you all the panelists, thank you all the speakers. You can see I've been scribbling a lot all through that. So, okay, so an event like this does not happen in vacuum. Is not get done just by a single organizations like GMG. There are other partner organizations that we do work with all the time, and I would like to take this moment to recognize them for their participation, for their help in putting together an event like this, and many more to come together, come to fruition in future. So, in no particular order, let me first invite Khanderaji Khan from FIIDS. Yeah. Please, Lalit, yeah. I don't know if Abhi Gulab is not here, but if Gauri is here, she's not here as well. So maybe Umesh, on their behalf, if I could request you, Umesh, where's Umesh? Okay, NAFA, North American Film Association, would like to recognize their contribution in making this possible. I don't see Anurag here yet, but clearly our own Anita ji is here. She's also part of Seva as well. So
I don't need a bouquet. I need a hug from Lalit.
He has traveled through the night just to be part of this, and he is traveling back tonight. So thank you so much, Lalit. He has been a crucial part of the board of members for Garje Marathi, and thank you so much again.
Next organization I would like to recognize is Maharashtra Mandal Bay Area, of course, MMDA, Bhaskar Ranade. Is he here?
Sheetal Doras and Viraj Raut can represent.
Yeah. Maharashtra Mandal Bay Area. So Sheetal Doras, yeah. Yes, of course.
Viraj Raut, ex-president, Maharashtra Mandal Bay Area, and Sheetal Doras. Cultural committee has been pivotal in getting Maharashtra Mandal Bay Area on the map. So.
Okay, we would like to invite Anjali Gandhi from East Bay, Maharashtra Mandal.
She has been a great patron for Garje Marathi too.
So we definitely appreciate her help and her continued support.
Thank you so much.
And I would also like to invite Heman Kaparne, Central Valley Maharashtra Mandal. Okay, there are a couple of individuals that I wanted to recognize here today. Besides the organizations, they also made something like this possible. I don't know if Bhushan Dahake is here. He couldn't have stayed for the whole program, he said. If he's not here, at least I would like to recognize his contribution. So every year, Google has a giving campaign, and every employee can choose whichever organization they want to donate to. Bhushan ran a very successful campaign for GMG and raised a significant amount of donations. So give him a big round of applause for that campaign. This individual, I did not have it on my list here, but just found out. So I think I chose the wrong role here. But Jay Kalke, after listening to Anand Joshi this morning about my program, has pledged a 5-digit figure to my program. So thank you, Jay Kalke. I think I have a wrong name tag here. My name is Anand Joshi, so please. Sorry, Anand.
It's not big.
Yes, so Jay has asked for anybody who wants to match that. You know, we can definitely do so. Anand is in the back over here. So please feel free. Okay. Next, I would like to recognize Anand Ganu himself. Of course, you know, he's the chief instigator here to make events like this possible. He's not here today, as Anila mentioned. He's in India right now to prep for this conference, the MABC conference that's happening in January. And of course, we have a major MOU signed with Pilgrimage University. I was fortunate enough to give a talk at PCU while I was in India just a couple of months ago. Fabulous opportunity and many more such collaborations to come from GMG and other institutions like that. So thank you, Anandji, for putting together an organization that's so effective. Many thanks also to GMG board members. So Anita ji, Sanjay ji, Lalit ji. So thank you. Yes, Sanjay, please.
We'll have a group.
There you go. There you go.
So on behalf of GMG, as a GMG board member, I would like to really thank you for coming over here. It's a great community, lot of contribution in all the areas, lot of investors on the board, lot of entrepreneurs here, great ideas, new events and new initiatives are being taken up every year. This is every year now we are doing GMG Excellence Summit. We had 2 so far. One was in Bay Area. This year it was in New Jersey. So keep looking. Next year we are going to have it in Europe. So keep looking for that event. This event is really successful. I want to really, he's giving vote of thanks, but Naresh and all the team members. And he deserves that bouquet over here. So. So thank you all for coming over here and looking forward to interacting with all of you, particularly investors. I always like that because I'm running the entrepreneurship cohorts and we really need support from all the investors, from especially Marathi community, but from all the investors as such. So thank you.
Couple other names. Couple of other names to mention here. Our videographer here, Kumar Joshi, who's gonna immortalize this event for us. Of course, you got a lot of food for thought, but we're gonna go to the next event, and that's food for your tummy. And Samir Patil makes that happen. So please, big round of applause for Samir. This great facility, the Mountain View Senior Center. Again, very fabulous facility, and so thank you, the City of Mountain View, to make the facility available to us. And with that, let me see if I did miss anything. Of course, all the volunteers who make an event like this possible. So, too many to name, but you know who you are. The WhatsApp group is flooding with messages. We are overflowing right now. Where we did all the planning. We'll of course take group picture later, but thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for making this happen.
We have a special gift for our very young and talented Shalaka. So I would love welcome to Keynote and Sonali, you can vote.
Oh, on picture. Yes. All right.
The rising star. I'll save the picture.
Okay, so and last but not least, thank you all for making it worthwhile. So it's one thing for us to plan everything. Please do let us know how you think about this event, how you think about GMG's mission in particular. If you want to change anything there, it is of course, we always welcome all the feedback. There is a feedback form that, well, it was more of a data collection form that went out. A lot of you have responded. If you have not, please do provide your feedback. The infographic that you were seeing all through the program here today was collected from that. So it's your feedback that makes it all possible. So thank you all for coming here, for providing feedback, and more importantly, getting involved going forward. So hopefully you see the value in this, and how to keep the organization going and keep providing you value. To talk a little bit more about that is Amita's.
Thank you, Naresh. As we know that Garje Marathi has more than 30 plus chapters all over the world. In United States, we have Northeast, Southeast, Chicago, Texas, and Bay Area as well as Southern California chapters. So we are calling them Center of Excellence, and to this team, to the credit of this team, that they have arranged such an excellent event today. So for sure, we are all thankful to them. You saw the Diwali event, you saw this event, and you can see and expect many such events that are important for our Marathi community here. That needs to grow, and for that we need your support. तर तुमच्या टेबलवरती QR कोड आहे. सरळ असते, तुम्ही आमच्यासाठी देणगी द्या. We will be very grateful to you. Thank you so much and enjoy the lunch.
So with that, I'm done. So Shalaka, if you could help us do the formal close of the event, and then of course, like Abhijeet said, we won't keep you very long here.
Thank you so much, Nareshji. And I would like to personally thank the entire GMG organizing committee for inviting me here so that I could be your MC. I'm so grateful to all of them and all of you for being just a brilliant audience. And I'm so grateful that I could MC for you all today. So let's give everyone one last big round of applause. And with that, we've concluded our formal sessions of the morning. As we transition into our favorite and most debated part of today's agenda, lunch, I encourage you to carry this energy forward. Continue the conversations, share your thoughts, and take this opportunity to meet the incredible people in this room. And before we head off for lunch, I would like to invite our caterer, Samir Patil, to say a quick few words about his venture.
Hello everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. My name is Samir and this is Chirag. So we came up with new venture called as Patil Vada. So we are getting food from different regions of Maharashtra. पारंपरिक पद्धतीने तुमच्यापर्यंत हे फूड पोहोचवण्याचा आमचा प्रयत्न आहे. So please try our food and visit our website for the details. Thank you. Okay, also for the first order for GMG, we'll give 15% of the discount. So.
I'm here in Mountain View, California for Horizon 2025 program for Garje Marathi. This morning we had an excellent program where we met a lot of venture capitalists, Marathi venture capitalists, Marathi businessmen, entrepreneurs, lot of people here in the Silicon Valley. It has been really excellent experience for somebody like me who has who's been a Marathi entrepreneur in the Silicon Valley. This is here. A lot of people we are here in the Silicon Valley for a while, but we don't get to meet a lot of these people here because of our our commitments. This is an excellent opportunity where we all come together, network, exchange ideas, and see how we can contribute to our Marathi community here in Silicon Valley as well as back in India to help the upcoming entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, the people who have excellent ideas, connect with them with the venture capitalist community who are Marathi VCs here, and also the business people who can exchange ideas and improve the networking and try to grow as a Marathi community. This has been an excellent program. I would encourage all the people in the Silicon Valley and who are visiting Silicon Valley to attend this program maybe next year and any of the program with the Garje Marathi what you have here and join them. And this is an excellent movement which has been started. I'm very happy I was able to attend this program here today. Thank you very much.
His moments.
I'm here at the Garje Marathi event in Mountain View today, and it has been a great community event to meet with all fellow Maharashtrians to connect on all things technology, AI, human-centered AI, mental health, and a variety of different topics. This community event has been great to meet various people from different parts of Silicon Valley. So I really appreciate Garje Marathi to invite me here, and I'm wishing for a phenomenal 2025 with this Horizon 25 event. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hi everyone. It started, the idea for Horizon 2025 really started with a simple concept that it's end of the year. Let's figure out what did we do in last year and what can we do better in the next year. And what was a personal exercise eventually became a group exercise, and now it became a community exercise. And the result of that was this event today. Awesome panel, awesome speaker, great response from the audience, and my mind is still exploding with a bunch of ideas that came out of that, and I hope that I can take some of those nuggets and implement on those in 2025. I hope you guys do that as well, and hope to see you at Horizon 2026. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I had a chance to participate in a panel at Garje Marathi Horizons 2025, and it was an informative, entertaining and fun event. I learned a lot. I think the outlook for 2025 is an exciting one, with the IPO market opening up, the interest rates going down, and the regulatory environment getting much better from a stock market perspective. And AI will become more and more mainstream, and there's always an opportunity for new companies to start in this space and be successful. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Jay Kulkarni. We had a fantastic, successful GMG Horizon 2025. We had a great panel. We had 6-7 panelists talked about AI next year. What are the growth areas for professional, for the entrepreneurs as well as for students. So thank you all for attending it and make it successful. Thank you.
Hello, Samir Borkar from Bocus Media. I've traveled from Melbourne, Australia, and attended this Garje Marathi event. It's been excellent opportunity for people like us. It's truly global, and I look forward to working with the global Garje Marathi team in 2025. A lot of technology and market and servicing talks, and it's great to be amongst the pioneers here in a lot of technology-centric discussions and entrepreneurs. So if anybody wants any marketing services, reaching out to audiences, reach out to Borkus Media. Thank you.
Namaskar, माझं नाव नेत्रेश रेगे. I'm here from Michigan and just came specially for this event. Very nice event. I'm quite interested in seeing how the AI and all this technology on the West Coast affects like manufacturing companies like mine in Michigan, so which is a core automation testing company there. So it was very good to hear the thoughts here. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Manohar Kamath. I attended the GMG Horizon 2025 event today. It was an amazing event. There were interesting panel discussions today on what's going on right now and what's going to happen in 2025. I'm part also of the GMG Venture Catalyst program, investing in companies that come through that channel. I love the community and it was a fantastic event, and if anybody wants to attend it in the future, you please do so. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chetan Hebale. I got introduced to the Garje Marathi community because we were in a pitching competition and got introduced to these wonderful folks here. And I'd say to all of you, anybody who's interested in connecting with not just the Marathi community but with great investors, really good thinkers, should check out Garje Marathi community. And I'd say that they have a wonderful template that perhaps other communities can also follow and create support groups of micro communities. I love the event and I look forward to attending another event in 2025. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shaunak, and one of the interesting things I learned during today's session at Garje Marathi Global is how the field of computer science is transforming over time. It's interesting to see how artificial intelligence is changing the fields, the role of professionals, from hard coding into thinking in a more algorithmic way, understanding how programs can be written more efficiently. Thank you to Garje Marathi for organizing this event, and I definitely enjoyed it.
Hi, I'm Sonali Sambhus, and this was my first event with Garje Marathi, and I'm super impressed to be a part of this. I'm happy that I learned about this event. As all of us are thinking of 2025, it was amazing to get together and brainstorm ideas, hear each other's perspectives, and really get our juices flowing as we head into 2025. Really happy that I was able to network with people, meet different professionals, entrepreneurs, investors, and thank you to Garje Marathi for this event, and look forward to joining more of them in coming year. Thank you.
Hello, today was a great day. Horizon planning for the next year. I have seen Garje Marathi's journey in the last 1 year since the executive summit last year in ICC. Today was one of the best inspiring session. If anybody wants to understand the reach of Maharashtrian community and Marathi entrepreneurs, this is a place to come. Garje Marathi, great panel, great networking opportunities. So if you are not yet engaged, please engage yourself and see the benefits flowing through. Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Garje Marathi, for giving me a chance to share OneCell story. It's a terrific platform, a lot of very exciting panel people, so many good programs, but I think today was really one of the best programs that was conducted. Awesome people, great content, presenters, as well as some of the things that happened was fantastic. So keep doing the programs, the high quality content, and keep us inspired to really take the Garje Marathi flag. Thank you.
Local GMG folks, this was one of the best programs I think we've had in a while. Perfect for startups and aspiring startups as well. I highly recommend seeing the video. Fantastic panel, great people with great stories. The videos will be posted, I believe. Do take a look.
Yeah, so today's event was excellent. I really enjoyed it. आणि माझा 2025चा विजन आहे की Foundatory Cafe becomes innovation hub for all our GMG entrepreneurs, campus to corporate, and all new ideas. Thank you.